Good evening. You have entered a parallax thing. Shit. Well, I had this funny idea in my head. Okay, let's start over. Greetings. You have entered the parallax zone, where if a game doesn't have at least 7 layers of parallax, it cannot be considered 16-bit. That's right. You have entered the game hump zone. We are here to talk gaming, and this man alive, we've got the coolest panel of gamer humpers that you could ever even imagine. This week we've got Nullity joining us once again. Say hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
How are you doing?
Oh, just dandy. Looking forward to hugging some games.
And we've also got Sarumaru-san joining us once again this week. Saru, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
What are you up to?
Oh, same old. Obeying Henshin Engine stuff, you know.
Yeah, there's some big news that came out
There is.
regarding the Henshin a Go-Go. I keep saying that. Henshin Engine.
Henshin a Go-Go's big news today.
Yeah, what exactly is going on with those guys?
So, Paul put it on the PC Engine Software Bible today.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it is.
That is a fantastic.
Yep, one complete volume, so I'm excited.
Yep. So does that mean you're going to have like cameos in future like Atlantean games or something?
Probably not. That's his thing with Arkin, but Henshin Engine will have random cameos of things.
Now that is cool. That is very cool.
Yeah.
Any gaming that you guys are doing this week or anytime recently that you want to share with the game humpers out there?
Oh, man. I haven't been playing a whole lot of anything lately. I've been busy with all the webcomic stuff and a day job. It sucks too because I wanted to play a lot of Dungeon Explorer 2 before I went out to MGC, but...
Oh, yeah, that's right, because we're going to do the Dungeon Explorer 2.
Right.
Yeah,
I think we have an open...
Yes, and we actually have Opethian also joining the chatter this week. How are you doing, Ope?
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you loud and clear and loud. How are you, sir?
Hey man, I'm doing alright. I forgot my pewter.
You forgot your pewter?
Yeah, I don't have a camera.
That's fine. Nobody wants to see you anyway, dude.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Well, I was just going around the table this week asking what everyone is up to. How are you doing?
Hey man, I'm doing good, man. Been playing some Rage of the Dragons on the frickin' Neo Geo.
That is awesome. The dragons have returned, Billy and Jimmy.
Bimmy and Jimmy.
Bimmy and Jimmy. That's cool. What did you think of Rage of the Dragons?
It's way better than Double Dragon.
Yeah, it is. Like the Neo Geo Double Dragon?
Yeah, because it's kind of like, I would say it's kind of a sequel to that with a newer engine, but I don't know, it's not the best fighting game, but it's definitely looks amazing.
Yeah, it does. It's got the same engine as Power Instinct, I think?
Yeah, it's by people.
Matra Melee. Yeah, I liked them. What's the name of the company? Evolve or something like that did that?
Noise Factory?
Noise Factory, yeah.
Was it Noise Factory? Oh, my bad. Yeah, I thought, anyway, yeah, Rage of Dragons is awesome, but I do gotta say that Double Dragon on the Neo Geo is impressive only because it has the FMVs from the movie. Because that's awesome for a cartridge to have FMV sequences. I'm sorry, I geek out for that kind of stuff.
It's like 5 seconds.
It is. It's like 5 seconds, but that game, and then Rise of the Robots on the Super Nintendo. Gosh, this is so good.
You said Rise of the Robots, really?
I did. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about fighting games today, and I wanted to mention Rise of the Robots. I need to go to bed. Rise of the Robots is one of my favorites. Opie, I'm gonna. No, you know what? Rise of the Robots is not very good for sure. I mean, it's probably a level below Shaq Fu.
I had it on PC. It was like one of the only fighting games on PC I ever played, and it was terrible.
It's bad. Opie, you'll notice on the chat, if you can open up the chat box on the side, I listed 8 different topics that we may get to tonight. that are just randomized stuff that we kind of chatted about earlier today and earlier this week on things we should talk about, and some current events type things going on. So we're probably just going to jump right into that. Does that sound good to everyone out there?
Yeah.
Cool. And I wanted to remind everyone that we have the Facebook page. That is facebook.com/gamehuggers. We've also got my Twitter space, Twitterverse, which of course is @_Joshua Turbo. Don't forget the underscore, or I'll punch you in the gonads. That is basically for you guys to tweet to me, tweet to us, tweet to the group, comment on things, give us ideas, request topics that you want us to talk about, or even give us opinions on some of the topics that we're talking about, and we'll definitely give you shout-outs and talk about whatever you guys want us to talk about, because honestly, we are slaves to you. And I just wanted to throw that out there because that's cool to get more involved. It's cool to get people involved because it's just a lot of fun doing those kind of things. So, our very first topic, we're going to talk about DLC updates for games. Sort of an example for that, and it is like Street Fighter V, how they've already had like a big DLC to fix some bugs, or hot fixes and things like that to fix bugs and add characters and add animations. Street Fighter V, Killer Instinct, DLC for games.
Dude,
Are you for it?
Capcom, they invented DLC.
Yeah, they did. And this is the concept of DLC for games or updates or hotfixes like that versus buying new versions of the games. And a good example of that is like Street Fighter 2. When we had Street Fighter 2, then Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition, then we had Street Fighter 2 Turbo, then we had Super Street Fighter 2 and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. What would you rather do? What is the pros and cons of like DLC?
Well, I'll take this one, man.
You gonna take this one?
The pros are Capcom makes a shit ton of money, and you
Yeah, they
can
do.
bring it you can rush a product to market whether it's finished or not, and that's low risk on them, and but I don't know. I guess the customer they don't really feel screwed anymore because it's commonplace. Everyone expects DLC or microtransactions or something these days. So I mean, sadly that's the future of gaming.
Macro transactions. It is sadly the future of gaming, I think. Too. What would you rather do though? Would you pay like an extra $5 for a couple more moves or characters or sprite animations and things like that, or would you rather pay another $60 for the whole game all over again?
I'll wait for the Game of the Year edition.
Yeah, that's probably a smart way to do it.
I don't know, man. You gotta milk the day one fans, that put it on the map. That's the way to do, man. They're running a business there, man. They're not here to make games that are fun and innovative. It's a business, man. It's a tough racket.
Well, we got two chatter things going on. Shit, I can't find it now. Anyway, that helps. Helps when I can't read or write. Okay, hold on, I can find it here. Tooch, 1995, quoted himself saying, "Do file is lame. Duo file is lame." And
What is he talking about?
I have no idea what the hell's duo file. And then Alec John posted on the Facebook page saying he was wondering if we could talk about why the enter key is so close to the quote or comma key.
That's a duo file question.
I think it was because his first post was just the letter I.
He's just narcissistic, that's all.
And then he accidentally hit enter. No, but seriously, I think this is kind of a double-edged sword because I think that companies that were at one time decent companies, I'm thinking Sunsoft, Konami's, Nintendo's, Sega's,
Yeah.
those guys, I mean TTI, okay, NEC and Hudson, they would put together really fantastic games that were complete and ready to go, and then ship them out, and you'd have them in your hands. You could play through them 100% and have fun playing them. Lesser companies like your Acclaims, or I mean, honestly, I would say Capcom's, and a few other companies would release games that were just about really good, but not quite there, and then they'd make a sequel or an update, and then another sequel, and then another update, and it was like wow, this is kind of crazy how many different games this is. I mean, you already had 6 games in the series, and it's only been like 6 years. Like, that's kind of crazy.
That's
So
because
it's
they
like,
learned that Street Fighter prints money.
yeah, they do. Hold on one second. I think that.
I think it
Great.
does too.
You guys chat about this for 1 second. Hold on.
Hello,
Yeah,
Grandma. Is that you?
Fuck the machine.
Yeah, I'm doing a webcast right now. No, Grandma. I don't have your meds.
So how's Grandma doing?
Oh,
Is she a
shitty.
gamer?
Yeah, she's a fake fan. I disown her.
I thought she was a Tetris player or something.
I like Faker.
Fika.
No, what I was trying to get at, though, before my phone decided to tell me that school was canceled tomorrow, even though it is spring break. That's brilliant. That it kept, before there was DLC and before you could just download updates to games or hotfixes or whatever, or patches, it kept companies more honest. You know, they couldn't rush shit out, you know. I think it's really like kind of ruined companies like EA and Activision. Like, they used to be quality companies. EA, whenever a new EA game came out, it was like a big deal. I mean, they usually had really high quality and really, really nice looking games.
John Madden football.
John Madden Duo CD Football for the Turbo Duo.
Huddle up, sports fans.
I actually love that game. I think it's so fun. But yeah, I don't know. It kept them more honest, and I think that companies now are allowed to be a little bit more lazy and do a little bit less QA on games. And you see far too often games getting released that are just like buggy as shit, and then a big update happens and the bugs are gone, or at least fixed a little bit.
You know, there's a benefit to that. I mean, look at the US XL2 from Working Designs on the TurboGrafx 16. Completely wrecked the gameplay with their localization formulas.
Yeah.
I would like an update for that one.
Play the Japanese one.
Plays the Japanese one, yeah. It's cheaper, too.
It's a downgrade.
The whole Moonrune thing gets in the way.
Yeah.
Just letters. Letters.
Yeah. That is a really interesting game, honestly, the concept of that, because you have Exile 2, or an XZR, wasn't it called, or something like that?
Yeah.
In Japan, and the game is easier. It's more playable, but there's no parallax scrolling, and you don't get it. And for me, that's a big deal. And there's no, it's not in English, so there you sit with a version
2 strikes.
Can't really read. And the US version's got amazing cutscenes, really well. The voice acting's fantastic. It's got parallax scrolling. The game makes sense because you can read it if you know only English language. However, the difficulty is astronomical. I mean, it like ramps up to ridiculous levels an hour and a half into it. I wind up doing the level up dance like pretty much half the game, where I just sit and farm on creatures and just leveling up, grinding and grinding and grinding for hours, and then you realize you're still not powerful enough to defeat the 3rd boss in the game or whatever.
They did that shit on purpose, man.
Well, Working Designs they're wizards of making games. They use the Turbo basically as a system to test out everything, and after they made all the mess ups on the Turbo, they went and made games for Sega and Sony.
Yeah.
And continue to mess up.
Not as badly, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, they were new. They were learning.
True. What do you think of shoot 'em ups? The term shmups or shumps? Shumps? Shmups?
Schmeps.
Shmoops?
Schmoops.
Shmoops.
Motherfucking schmoops.
So when we were kids, they were called shooters, or I remember the term space shooter a lot. I heard a lot of space shooters. And then we got beat 'em ups, and the games like Contra or Metal Slug were called run-and guns, and then people started calling space shooters kind of shoot 'em ups, like beat 'em ups, shoot 'em ups, kind of went hand in hand. And currently, in the year 2016, kids or other gamers refer to shooters as first-person shooters. So when I hear someone talking about a new shooter coming out, I get all giddy and I'm like, oh my god, a new Ikaruga? Or Ikaruga? Yeah, and they're talking about Call of Duty or Rainbow Six. Just like, those are first-person shooters. Call them FPS. Like, if it's Doom clone, it's a first-person shooter. If it's a It plays like Gradius. It's a shoot 'em up or a shooter.
You're shooting them up, though, aren't you?
You shooty.
Well, but shooting games, you're shooting. It's just shooters. It's just weird that first-person shooters kind of just appropriated that whole thing.
Well, what about gun games? What do you call those?
Gun games?
First-person shooter?
Like running gun games? Or are you talking about
I'm
like
talking
light
about
gun games?
like Time Crisis.
I think those
Shoot 'em up, right?
Just light gun games. I don't know.
You're shooting shit, right?
You're shooting shit.
Shooter.
What do you call space shooters or shoot 'em ups? What do you call them?
I call them awesome. The only games I play. The only games that matter.
Our good friend David on the Facebook page for Gamehuggers says, anyone who uses the term shmups needs to be kicked in the face while wearing concrete boots. Now I'm curious, does he have to be wearing concrete boots and then I kick him in the face, or am I the one wearing the concrete boots? Also, they're not very comfy.
Step up to the challenge.
Step up to the challenge.
You probably couldn't get very good momentum. They're probably really heavy.
That's probably true.
Just gotta play it, man. Just play it, man.
Nullity,
It's
what
just a
do
game,
you call them? Shoot 'em ups or shooters?
I prefer to call them third-person, overhead, side-scrolling, or isometric shooting spaceship games.
Yeah, I like that. Don't some of the turbo games like say tactical shooting game?
Like R-Type.
I'm
That's a tactical
not sure. We have Vague's Tactical Gladiator. That's not even truly a shooter.
Roy Vegas.
Is it Vegas or Viges?
Vigwiz.
I think it's Vigs.
Vigs?
Roy Vegas.
Vegas. Kick you right in the Vegas.
Whatever happened to Roy Vegas? I miss that guy.
Hey, man, he bought a house.
Did he? Saru, do you know him? You're from that area.
Yeah,
He
no. I think
moved into his old house.
Are you hanging out with him at his house?
No, I think he stopped posting in like 2012 when I first rejoined.
He's not at liberty to talk about their relationship.
Okay, so I do not call first-person shooters shooter games at all. My kids, actually last weekend, my kids got me to play Alien Isolation, which, by the way, is pretty damn fun. But there's no way in hell that I would ever consider that a first-person. That I would ever consider that a shooter game because it's more.
It's a FIPS.
It's a FPS, a first-person shooter or a first-person adventure game, like Metroid Prime. 10 years ago, maybe more than 10 years ago. My God, that was like 2002.
It's a Doom clone, though, man. Prime is good. I like Prime.
Prime is a good game, but it also introduced a different style to being in a first-person shooter. It wasn't just around every corner you're shooting things. It's like you're walking around, you're trying to solve problems.
It was a Metroidvania.
Hell no, you did not just say that.
What about those people? What's their fate that use the term Metroidvania?
No comment.
That's just kind of something that started happening in like the last 10 years, right?
Oh, I hate the term.
Fucking noobs coining terms.
It's just a Metroid game. That's it. I mean,
But it's a Castlevania too, right?
Just because it played like Castlevania 2 was a Metroidvania game. Then I guess I don't know. It's just a Metroid thing, man. They're Metroid clones.
Side-scrolling exploration.
Yeah, you mean Pitfall?
Yeah, right. Is it a Pitfall game then?
Why can't they be Pitfall clones? Pitfallvania.
Matthew on the Facebook page says Alien Isolation is a first-person survival game.
Ooh.
An
So it's like
FP.
Resident Evil?
It's still an FPS.
That's true. Just a different S.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Doom 3 is a first-person survival game.
Yeah, it is. There's such a different genre that I don't like that. I mean, I hate that. I mean, I guess I'm so old. I don't like change. You know, if somebody comes out with a shooter game,
Fuck labels.
yeah, right. If somebody comes out with a shooter game like Raiden 6 or Raiden 5 when that just came out, I think of it as a shooter. I mean, you can call it a shoot 'em up or whatever, but the time when you start calling games like Call of Duty and Rainbow Six shooter games is the time that I just sit and scratch my head because they're totally not. They're its own type of game, and just stick to your own damn genre and stop trying to steal ours. It's like games like games like Skyrim and Fallout 4. They stole the term RPG. They used to be called, yeah, right? They're MMOs.
They're like Phantasy Star Online clones.
Yeah. They're EverCrack clones.
Whatever the first one was.
But they just call them now. They're just called RPGs. They're just role playing games, and it's like, dude, that game is as much a role playing game Alien Isolation is. It's like, come on,
come on, guy, come on,
come on.
So that's tough for me. I mean, it's a first person role playing game or first person adventure. Like back in the '90s, we would call it a Western RPG. Like those computer PC role playing games that were made.
Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
Hey, Mystic Quest is fun.
It's a Western RPG.
Was it really made?
What's that?
They made that in America, and then they ported it to Japan because it was a garbage game.
Oh, I knew it wasn't a Final Fantasy game.
It was developed in America as like
It's not garbage. It's fun.
It's better than Secret of Evermore.
Which was also developed in America, right?
Yeah, that one was.
You know, okay, so Secret of Evermore, I'll give it this. You know, if it hadn't been for Secret of Mana, I think a lot more people would probably have liked Secret of Evermore because they have similar menu systems and similar graphic types, but they're not meant to be in a series together. And I think when people played Secret of Evermore thinking it was Secret of Mana 2, they were really disappointed. And that's true, because it is.
Like Super Airzone.
It's like a C game,
Yeah.
or it's a B- game compared to an A game like Secret of Mana. I went into it and disliked it, but having played it in the last 4 or 5 years, I don't hate it. I think it's got good soundtrack.
It's good music. I give you that. It does have good music.
It's more ambiance music for sure, but it's a big game, and it's got some definite pros to it versus all the cons. I don't think it's a horrible game by any means.
It's 48 mega power.
It is not Secret of Mana, not even close, but...
I don't know.
No, you say Super Airzonk. Super Airzonk was actually intended to be the sequel to Airzonk, and that is a massive letdown.
Yeah.
See, it was as of a letdown.
I guess I could see
The
that.
Turbo.
Music, graphics, like there was no like parallax either or anything, right?
Friends. Where's the friends at? What's up with the friend selection? It's garbage.
Right?
Freaking garbage.
The only thing I liked about Super Airzonk on the Super CD for the Turbo was the level select scene. When you have the cannon, it looks all 3D. You know what I'm talking about?
Like one frame to move that cannon. Every time.
It's pretty damn sweet. But yeah, I don't know. That's my biggest disappointment on the Duo. Okay? So I know Ope is his biggest disappointment is probably Browning.
No, man, I've got tons, and that's just the one that you keep going back to.
Because you made a joke out of it. You said it should be renamed Frowning.
Was it that bad? I mean, it was that bad, but
Frowning.
Well, that's my biggest disappointment was, well, actually there was a couple. It was Batman by Sunsoft, and I know a lot of people love that game, but I hate it. I really don't like it. I still don't like it because I'm so disappointed. No, I thought
the NES one was way better.
The NES one's better. The Genesis one's better. Even the freaking Atari Lynx version was better. I was just so disappointed. Super Airzonk was a big disappointment. I remember bringing that home. I actually ordered in the mail like in '94 or whenever it came out, and I was like so stoked. And the music was like all rockabilly shit, and I'm like, oh wow, this is, And I forced myself to play through it, and I'm like, okay, it's not a horrible shooter, but it is so horrible compared to the original.
The Game Over song is good, though.
And then, this is a funny story, sort of, and maybe I have already told it to Sarumaru, but another big disappointment for me was I had played through and loved Shockman, the Turbo Chip game. Played through it, and I heard that, either through PCFX or wherever online, that the translation for it was Shubibi Man. And then I found online Shubibi Man 2, and I was like, all right, now I'm gonna pick up Shubibi Man 2 to play the sequel to Shockman. So I bought that. I don't remember how much it was. It was like $30 or $40 on eBay or something stupid like that. And I got it, wrapped the package, and then I looked at the hue card, and I'm like, God, that's the same exact art. Held it up next to the thing, and I'm like, wow, that's really kind of cheap, but whatever. And I put the game in. It was the same damn game, just in Japanese. So I remember being really disappointed in that.
No.
Beautiful game for sure, but I was really mad that it was the same game. I didn't realize that Shockman was actually Shubibi Man 2.
You mad, bro? You mad?
Yeah. Well, then I wound up buying the first one, which it's got a good soundtrack for sure, and then of course the third one, which was a lot of fun.
It's better than Energy.
Energia.
Most
I don't
things
hate
are
energy
good.
either. I actually like energy.
What?
It's horrible. Like it's so bad that it's fun, and the music is awesome.
It's so
What?
bad. It's just bad. Music is pretty good though. NCS Masaya always did a pretty good job when it came to music, but the gameplay and the game is just pretty bad.
It's a bleh.
So bleh.
What do you think, Null? What's your biggest turbo disappointment?
It's a toss-up between Pac-Land and Vigilante. Those were two of the...
Pac-Land.
Pac-Land.
Vigilante?
Pac-Land.
I catch the flack for it, but...
Good ports.
Yeah, sure. I'd never played the arcade game, though I had high hopes that it would be fun. I wasn't going for arcade accuracy.
It still sucked.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's actually really fun. You guys are crazy.
Well, I think you're bad.
I like Vigilante. I thought it was fun.
fine. You
But
can
I really
pick-
like Spartan X also, so...
Not familiar with that one.
We got
I mean, Kung Fu?
Would you say Yaya Kung Fu?
No, just regular Kung
Just
Fu.
Kung Fu. Jackie
Oh.
Chan!
Chinese Warrior?
Not Jackie Chan. Channy
Not
Warrior?
Jackie Chan. Action Kung Fu, but actually Spartan X was based on a Jackie Chan movie.
Really?
Yep, called by the same name.
Drunken Master.
Right. So when they released it elsewhere, they removed the Spartan X movie so they could freely release it without having to go through the movie company to port the game.
See, man, movie studios were greedy then, too.
Yeah. So
Greedy
let's call
piggies.
this whatever, and we're gonna call the guy Bob. I think that's what he had some like crazy name like Sam or Bob or I don't remember.
My favorite movie based on a video game is definitely Gunhead.
Is it based on the movie?
Based on the game.
What about the movie Blazing Lasers?
Right?
Gene Wilder?
Yeah, that's a good one. I love that one.
Where are all the white women at?
We got a request
I
here from a Facebook friend named Jesse Hernandez, and he wants us to talk about what systems are considered retro and which ones are not. Example,
Oh wow.
is the PS2 considered retro now? Sarumaru?
I
15
would,
years, right?
for me, I would consider everything up to the PS2 retro.
So PS2 is still next gen?
So PS2 is probably the cusp of retro.
So what about Dreamcast then? Wasn't Dreamcast in the same generation as the PS2?
That was before the PS2.
Well, it's still in the same generation.
The same genre. Is that where we're starting? The generation defines retro?
I think that in according to Wikipedia, no. I think that it was the Dreamcast, PS2, GameCube, and Xbox were considered competing consoles in one generation from '99 until 2005.
The PS2 won that shit.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
kinda
just
think that
barely.
Dreamcast is in a realm all its own just because of how soon
timing
it came
of it.
out. Yeah.
That's very true.
anything
That's
else.
very true.
So kind of like the PCFX, the Sega did the same thing.
Don't go
You
there.
know, where they came out prior to this whole other generation. So kind of would, you know,
It's not a PC or an FX. What is it?
it's
It's got no FX.
I don't
It does have graphics.
There's no parallax. There's only FMV.
this FMV. There's no parallax, really? There's parallax.
Oh, there's parallax.
Go out and buy one. Go out and buy one.
PSFX
Prove me
actually
wrong.
does parallax really well. It has like what two planes of parallax.
I need 8 planes.
That's pretty nice. So history kind of keeps repeating itself if you think about it, because like the PCFX was in the middle of a generation where it was like what 94 to 97 or something like that, or 98. And then the Dreamcast. You know, honestly, the Dreamcast when it came out, the system that it hurt the most was probably the N64. It took away a lot of N64 fans and brought them to Sega on the Dreamcast.
I think the system did that itself.
That's I have no argument there. But now we're seeing it again with the Wii U. Because can you really consider the Wii U competition for the X-Bone and the PS4? It
It's the same generation, right? You're doing
It
the
is the same
generation thing.
generation,
So
yes.
it has to be, right?
Well, it's kind of a PS3 is in terms of power, but if we're going by like the generation, we kind of did that with the Dreamcast, so I guess they're the same generation.
speaking of the Wii U, and we kind of there was some news that came out earlier this week about Nintendo rumored to be halting production of Wii U units in the U.S. and around the world because their plans for the NX to come out, which Nintendo did wind up putting up another message. Actually, they never announced that. Apparently, it was a leaked news source. But later on, Nintendo did respond to that on Twitter and via other sources saying they're full of shit. Nintendo is still fully supporting the Wii U because they have a new Zelda coming out later this month or next month. They got Star Fox and a few other big titles are coming out still this year. But it is an interesting time for Nintendo because they're barely breaking 10 million units sold. I think they're looking to hit Dreamcast levels of sales right now, and they're about to hit their 4th year in the.
Abysmal.
It's interesting because 10 million to me sounds like a lot. I mean, with the PC Engine hit 12 or 13 worldwide, which I think the PC Engine was an amazing system, and there's millions of adoring fans out there. But to hear that, I mean, the Ouya sold.
None of which are in this chat right now.
No, yeah, of course, right. We've had to scrape across the entire country the 4 people that actually know what the PC Engine is. But yeah, I guess you could consider. I mean, obviously compared to the Wii, it's a major failure. They brought it out and completely missed the momentum going from the original Wii.
It's an HD Wii. What do you expect?
Yeah. Well, they should have called it the Wii HD.
How well did the 32X do? If they had a Wii U peripheral for the Wii, to upgrade it, it would have had the same fate. It was destined to. It sold as good as it could have done, man.
It's probably true. It's fully backwards compatible though.
They were going to release that thing that read the DS cards. Whatever happened to that? Like, they made an announcement, there was like a prototype and everything, and never happened. I think that would have helped the Wii U if people could play DS games on their Wii U.
But what about the 3D?
Original DS games.
Oh, the original DS?
Yeah, not 3DS.
Well, they figured, everyone's already got a DS and a 3DS, so...
Yeah. Well, I mean, they figured probably everyone's already pirating all the DS games. That's the point.
It's true.
I do it too.
I think that they did not wind up going that route because they offer DS and GBA games downloadable on the Wii U gamepad.
Well, yeah, you can play them out of the store too. So
you just buy them out of the store again, yeah. So you pay an additional $10 or whatever per game.
Which is kind of horseshit.
Come on, man. You don't need
you want to play it across
weighing you down that you could lose someday.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know what to think about the Wii U. We own one in our house, but we just got one this last Christmas. It gets played a lot. The new Twilight Princess is a really, really pretty game. It plays really well. It's the same game, much deeper graphics, much broader view of dungeons and the views of the cities and things like that are amazing. I don't know. I think the Wii U is really a cool system. It's a shame to see it not doing as well, but it also makes sense because any of my gamer friends or game shops that are local to me, I go to, and I always just for the hell of it, I always say like, "Hey, how's the Wii U doing?" And they all just chuckle. And even just recently, my friend at a local game shop named Gaming Generations, he said that just a week ago there was a mom who brought in Wii U games and put them on the counter and said, "Hey, these don't work on our Wii." And he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" And she's like, "Are these Wii games or what? Because my kids said that they don't work on Wii. You have to get another Wii." And it's like, yeah, I mean, this is a whole new console, and they're like, well, we don't want this, and it's like, people are still confused about what the Wii U even is, and
marketing.
Yeah, they just don't know what it is, and it's the whole gamepad using a tablet to play and still having the Wii motion controls, and it confuses people. It's just too many peripherals and not enough like actual gameplay. And you're just confused on what you're supposed to be gaming with.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know. It's like it wasn't like this horrible, awful, terrible failure like, say, the 32X, the Virtual Boy. But this was pretty bad. Like, for them to lose all that momentum and to go in with a system like this, I mean, there's beautiful games for it. There's a lot of fun. People that own them like them a lot. But there's also a lot of people that got really confused by it and didn't know what the hell it even was.
Right, and they get too gimmicky with stuff, too. Like, a lot of games require you to actually play on the gamepad thing or whatever, the Wii U thing. What is it called?
Whatever that is.
The thing with the screen on it?
Tablet?
The tablet. Jesus. So, like,
Jeez.
games like Pokken, I think, require the first player to use the tablet, and then everybody else uses controllers. I'm like, what
Yep.
kind of crap is that?
Yep.
That's
Buy more tablets.
Yeah,
my tablets.
There's special requirements to play 2-player mode of Pokken
That's
tournament.
so dumb.
You
Though
got that?
I feel like the people who are using the tablet are at a disadvantage because they're using the tablet.
It's actually in our house. It's completely the opposite. My kids, whoever gets the system first plays with the tablet, and everybody else has to play with the other shitty things like the Pro controllers or the Wii remotes and stuff like that. And then it's constantly an argument about who gets to play with the tablet, because the tablet is actually really intuitive. It's very nice, responsive. The screen is beautiful on it. I just wish you were able to spend another $79, $90, $100 even for more tablets. You could hook up to like 4 at a time on your system.
Yeah, but
So that's coming next year.
Yeah, that's
Nothing
coming next year with the
different from
NX. But that's my dream anyway, to play Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles in its entirety in HD on a Wii U, because man, I love that game.
I don't think Square would do that.
no. I
No,
don't
it
think
makes too much sense.
Yeah.
They've already killed Final Fantasy.
Pretty much, but a lot of people are excited for 15, which is just going to be Grand Theft Auto in a fantasy universe. So
Yeah,
Is that
and
what
the
it is?
7 remake.
that's what it looks
is
like
right
to
around
me.
the corner too.
So, gaming in our old age, and gaming with kids, gaming with family, gaming with full-time jobs, how do you balance your time and still continue to be a gamer? I mean, obviously, it's funny because I always see memes online about how people. By the way, we're segueing into a different topic here. I always see memes online with people who talk about, when you're a kid, you had all these responsibilities like schoolwork and doing chores and, eating right and, being a kid and socializing with your friends. Yeah, right.
You threw that
And
one in there, dude.
You'd avoid all those. You'd avoid all those things just to game. And play video games all night until 3 in the morning, and then try to get up for school the next morning, stuff like that. I mean, who hasn't done that? But now you have all these games to play, and all this fun stuff to do. But you gotta try to figure out a way to get to it, or balance your time properly to get to it, because you have work and kids and bills and cars and things that you have to do to function as a human being. And I mean, how do you guys balance all these things?
I invested in a time machine. Works. I beat all my games. All of them. I'm
Every
ready to
single
sell.
one.
I'm ready to sell.
You ready to sell them all off?
Cashing out. Call the pit boss. This is over $6,000.
The pit boss.
I don't know. I don't have any kids, but I can't imagine. As it is right now, I don't have time to play. So all y'all who've got kids, I don't know how you guys do it.
Hey, man. Pace yourself. It just takes
Pace
one vagina.
yourself.
You can have kids. It just takes a vagina. Vagina.
My siblings are too busy having kids of their own. I don't want any kids.
Myself, my secret is I wait until bedtime, and then I get to game. It's very, very rewarding.
That is absolutely what I do too. The big sacrifice for me, and this is something I learn more and more as my kids get older. I got a 17-year-old, and I've also got a baby that's going to be here in less than 48 hours.
Damn, man.
Wow.
What are you doing here? What are you doing
40
here?
hours.
Well, my wife and I are going in to be induced on Friday,
Oh, okay.
so it's going to be a crazy weekend. I'm going to be in a hospital all weekend. It'll be great. But my big sacrifice, the thing that I'm realizing the older I get with my kids, is the things that I have to sacrifice are my own personal things. I still try to work out a couple times a week, but the more I game, the less I work out. If I start working out more, if I get a couple of weeks of good workouts, runs or weightlifting or whatever, I find my gaming time goes down. So I'm just getting really fat and I'm gaming more, so it's cool.
Yeah.
And I also sacrifice sleep. Man, it's exactly like Null was saying. I get my kids to sleep around 8:30, and if I can game half an hour to an hour up until 9:30 at night, That's exactly what I do. And anytime you see this podcast going up, it always starts at 9 o'clock on Wednesday nights because it's always perfect time for me to get my kids to bed, and then I've got, an hour or two to hang out until I need to get to sleep for work in the morning or whatever. The YouTube channel that I have, I try to upload probably 1 or 2 videos outside of this weekly podcast on that channel too. And a lot of people have asked, like, how the hell do you do that? A lot of people maybe don't know, but I am a father of 5, and our 6th is coming this Friday. And my kids are ages 17, 15,
Dude,
12,
pull out, man, pull out.
12, 8, and
time
3.
to get the snips.
Yeah, that is actually coming in a month, so I'm really looking forward to that. It was going to be my birthday present to myself a couple months ago, but then we found out.
That's a terrible birthday present.
It's a fantastic birthday present, actually. I don't care if I have to hold ice on my jing jong.
On my pinus.
Yeah, so it's always the best thing to do is try to get it in, get gaming in at night.
I think you've done enough.
Am I done speaking now? No. So when I do YouTube videos, it is almost always me recording late at night. So a lot of times I'm like yawning or I'm really tired during the video, so I have to like edit that kind of stuff out because it's like 1 or 2 in the morning. But yeah, the biggest sacrifice for getting more gaming in at this stage of my life, being with family and stuff, is lack of sleep. Just completely cutting out sleep sometimes.
Yeah, you don't need that shit. It's overrated. You don't need sleep.
Yeah, and a majority of the time I game is also at conventions. I try to go to like 3 or 4 a year. Midwest Gaming Classic is coming up in like 2 weekends, and that's like, man, when we get there, I'm on average of like 3 hours of sleep each night. So it's a blast. It's so much fun.
This is true. When I met you at MGC last year, I thought you like headed in for me. You were just pissed and like despondent, and
he was.
Totally unresponsive.
He saw your face.
I think it was the Saturday night one after we did. Let's see. Drove out Friday morning at like 4 in the morning. Got there at 7:30. Started setting up all day, and then stayed up until like 1 or 2 in the morning. Saturday morning, and got up at 5 or 6 to start setting up the next morning for the Saturday morning stuff. And that whole day was just work. I was on my feet the whole time. My feet were killing me. And like it was 3 a.m. Sunday morning, and there was these 2 dudes. It was Chris from Windy Gaming and one of his buddies. Jag Masters or something like that.
Oh yeah, Jag Master.
God, he was so wasted. But he was just going on and on. He kept talking, and Chris was like, "You got to meet this guy. He's really funny." And he was just so fucked up. And I started like kind of shutting game systems off and turning the TVs off, kind of giving him a hint like, "Get the hell out of here so I can go to bed."
He is funny though.
He is really funny. And they just kept playing games and stuff. And I was sitting on a chair like backwards like this with my arms down. And finally I put my head down, and I must have fallen asleep for almost an hour while they were still in there.
Wow.
And that was the night that one of our other buddies, Blue Raven, he came out and he was like, "Hey, I'm looking for a place to sleep." And I'm like, "Just camp out in the turbo room. These guys aren't going to leave all night." And he wound up sleeping. He slept in the turbo room, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, dude, that MGC is not a weekend for me to sleep. But I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. It's a lot of fun.
I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. What are you guys' thoughts on the Xbox and Microsoft announcing that they want to see Xbox players playing against PC gamers and PS4 gamers online?
That's kind of crazy, actually. I never thought I'd see the day that there would be like cross compatibility with 2 like major competitors when it came to like online gaming. So I guess it's cool.
They're losing the battle. That's why they're conceding, man. It's a weak move. It's a weak move, man. Remember how proud they are of their network? You had to pay to play on Xbox Live.
Yeah.
They threw ads in there, and then they're like, "Yep, you're paying for this great community and the servers and all this," and like now, we're gonna open that shit up because our user base is dwindling. They're weak, man. They're weak.
You gotta pay to play well on the PS4 as well. You can't get a lot.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I mean, but the
It's
original
the same price.
but yeah, back in the PS3 and the 360
It's true.
days, they were free, and that was their thing. But even though, I guess everything's PCs now. So I mean, like, how hard is it for them to open it up to other PCs?
Well, especially when it's Windows games
Yeah.
versus Xbox games that are also Microsoft games.
Yeah, so
That's true.
I don't know. Are they doing it for the players? I don't know.
Which gamer base would be better? I mean, if the PS4 has so many more players, like what, 4 or 5 to 1? I mean, that's how many more millions of players there are. Wouldn't wouldn't they open it up to getting slaughtered, honestly, if they were going to open up some games to play across multiple?
A lot of people said that it was unfair when they had, I think it was first-person shooter games, like the Call of Duty games or something. They had it opened up where it was PC people versus console people, and if you got a mouse and keyboard, you've got a big advantage over people with. I don't care how good you are with a controller. You could think I'm MLG here, pro gamer. You got a guy with the keyboard and mouse, and he'll run circles around you.
Yeah,
There's no contest.
I don't even know. I'm terrible with a mouse and keyboard at first-person shooters. So.
Come on, man. You got a PC.
I do.
How are you doing this podcast?
I'm doing it on a Ouya.
You use a mouse and keyboard every day. You can hook a mouse up to the Ouya. It's got a USB port.
Yeah, it does.
You don't need touch controls.
It's only got one USB port. It's a little disappointing.
Buy a hub, man. Figure it out, man. Come on, man.
Come on. I don't know. That seems like it seems a little bit like a desperation move. If they had announced that when the Xbox One was first coming out. But yeah, it's lagging in sales. There's news reporting that the Microsoft firm, or the company that's behind Microsoft, is not the company. The management behind Microsoft and the Xbox One are saying they're phasing out console development and they're moving towards just being a software company again, which is not good. Like Sega, which is not good news for the Xbox console. Do you think this is?
They just develop PC games like they're already doing.
Yeah.
Well, focusing on what makes them money, and that's definitely software and PC games. The Xbox has never ever turned a profit for them yet.
Shit, consoles in general don't hardly ever turn a profit, for the most part. Not until you get it out there for about 6 years, and you're making money by then.
They
got
lots software
and software, all that bullshit.
Yep.
That's where the money's at. No overhead. You don't have to produce anything.
So do you think this is Microsoft's last console, is the Xbox One?
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
Hopefully.
If Microsoft does go on to focus on software, do they wind up making Halo or other of their IPs, like Rare games, for other consoles?
With the PS4, they'd probably make a heck of a lot more money.
Do you think they would actually jump on with Sony, or would they make Nintendo games for
Where else would they go?
Yeah, Master Chief in the next,
Smash Brothers?
Yeah. Vote for it.
That'd be pretty cool, actually.
Tweet it now. Hashtag MasterChef.
Hashtag Cooking Mama 3 in Smash
I
Brothers.
love Cooking Mama.
I figured you would.
I pray for you.
Speaking of Wii motion controls, because we were earlier.
Segue.
What a segue. Well, the NX is going to have an interesting controller. When that gets unveiled sometime later this year, I'm curious to see what the hell it's going to look like. I hope it's just a regular goddamn controller that's just going to play like a good system. All I wanted is something to play fun, play well, not some crazy touchscreen and something you attach to your nutsack and jump up and down. I don't want that.
Well, it's going to have another one of those tablet things because they're planning to implement, or the rumor has it, that the tablet controller is supposed to be portable and you're supposed to be able to take it with you.
Right. Yep.
Why can't you do that now, though? That's crazy.
Yeah.
You have to be within 30 feet of your Wii U to play it on there, yeah.
And it's a tablet. There's no reason that they had to lock it to the thing.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Because apparently there's no actual processing power in the actual tablet. Like the tablet runs off of Wi-Fi and runs off of the Wii U's power.
So it actually streams video to it? Doesn't actually process video?
Yeah, it doesn't really do any of its own processing except for just gathering data from the Wii U.
Right. Which is impressive because it does it all real time and it also outputs controls to the system. that you're doing from it. So really, it's just adding a middleman to this like handheld console. I've seen some of those leaked prototypes, which I hope are all bullshit, but some of them had a controller that has 2 analog sticks on each side, but no buttons, because they're going to have a touch screen where you're going to use the touch screen for buttons, and if that winds up happening, I will absolutely hate it, because you cannot... I'm never going to play a game console without buttons on it. No way.
Yeah, because then you would just play it on your goddamn iPad. Why even play it on a console at that point?
Yeah. No,
I don't think they'll go that route, though.
I hope they don't. Oh, man,
No.
I hope they don't.
But apparently they're gonna do the whole like microprocessing thing, where like systems that are on help process or help delegate tasks for other systems.
Yep.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I don't.
That'll be cool.
How's that gonna work if you don't have like internet? If you don't have good internet, what, you're shafted?
Yeah, where do you go that doesn't have internet?
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know, any third world country that's gonna have the Wii U.
Yeah, they're gonna have a Wii U, I'm sure.
So you turn on your NX. You turn on your NX.
The one Wii U in the village.
Community Wii U.
You turn on your NX, and then you turn on your NES and your Super NES and your N64, and it all delegates the power to each separate thing. So the processing power, and then you got the game will play so much faster.
Synergy.
Yeah. I just hope it's comfy, and I hope it plays well. Speaking of comfy controllers, what are some of your most comfortable controllers?
That was a good segue.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Sarumaru-san, what is your most comfortable controller? Oh my god, Null, what the hell is that?
Sega Saturn.
I agree.
No, I like what Null's got. I got that. With the M's.
Pachio-kun controller.
Pachiko-kun, yes. There is nothing better than this. I mean, it's the ultimate in comfort.
Shaped like a nutsack.
That's all I have to contribute to this video. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
I think I'm with you, Saru. The Saturn is definitely like the last controller that I absolutely loved in gaming. That came out. It wasn't the original Saturn controller, because that one's a piece of shiza.
Yeah, that was good.
The second one they came out with that was a little bit smaller, had a much better D-pad. It was perfect for fighting games, perfect for all the 2D games I absolutely loved on that. It was at a time when I wasn't necessarily in love with either the N64 controller or the PS1 controller. And I was so happy.
I didn't mind the PS1 controller, but I played a lot of fighting games, so like the D-pad on it was really awesome and responsive, and the fact that it had like the 6 buttons next to each other was also really good. And because the Neo Geo ports on the Sega Saturn were great.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, because you couldn't afford a Neo Geo.
Right.
Okay. I couldn't afford a Neo Geo. So there was like one guy, and then you had this guy. Bam! Controller.
The Knights. Is that the Knights?
Yeah, it's the Knights analog controller.
It's a good controller too. I like that.
It's a good controller, and it was not bad for fighting games. It was still better than the really bulbous Saturn controller. Like you can still play fighting games and get on this, surprisingly.
Yep. Did you ever disconnect the wire from that?
Can you?
Yeah. There's a little switch on the back. You can just pull it right off.
Is there a quick disconnect, just like Xbox controllers?
Kind of. Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
Now smell it. Now smell it.
Smell my fingers.
Oh my gosh, dusty. Woo. Huh? I never knew that. Wow, look at how dusty this thing is. Because this thing's
my
like
grandma's mouth.
I've had this since like 1998, so it's like hella dusty.
Yeah, that was like when I first got it, I was like, "What's this?" And I pulled it apart right away, and I'm like, "Oh, this is so cool! It probably can have a wireless adapter or something." And maybe that's what they were thinking about doing, sort of like the Wavebirds, how they had the wireless on there. I would love that, but I don't know why it's there. You can just disconnect it for some reason.
Yeah, I wonder why they did that.
Somebody
for software updates.
Or precursor to the whole VMU thing, maybe, or precursor to the Sega Dreamcast controller.
That would have been
maybe.
Cool. VMU.
The VMU. The VMU. The VMU. No, I didn't. You know, the Saturn D-pad and the layout of the buttons, the six face buttons on the Saturn's fighting game, the fighting controller for the Saturn, to me completely annihilates the PlayStation 1 controller. I did not like 2 LNRs on each side. I still get confused with the LB as in the LR triggers or whatever.
Yeah.
And the D-pad on the PlayStation is not a D-pad, it's D buttons. They're separate. So doing like quarter circles and stuff is more difficult for me on a PlayStation controller, and I just wound up not liking it. And I also despise buttons that are shapes. I want A, B, X, and Y. I don't want triangle, square, circle,
That
X.
took me the longest time to get used to.
It's just bullshit. I hate that. No way.
Play a rhythm game, you'll learn them.
Yeah, up, left, right, down, shoot, 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 shoot.
Shoo, shoo, shoo.
Bust a move or bust a groove.
Bust a Groove was a good
I
one.
think
And
that's
so
when I
is
finally learned the stupid symbols.
There
you got
go.
to kick a punch. It's all in
There
your
you go.
mind. If
Chop,
you
chop,
want to test
Master
me,
Onion.
I'm sure you'll find the things I teach you. I'm sure to beat you. But nevertheless, you better listen to teacher. Now kick.
That's Parappa.
Aren't they going to remaster that one on the PS5 or something?
I thought the
What,
Parappas
Parappa?
were HD'd in the PS3 or whatever.
Did
Were they?
I
thought
missed
so.
that. I boxed up my PS3.
We need the HD Guitar Man. I think that's like.
Yeah, that game was tough.
Guitar Man is really good.
Super good.
Speaking of HD games, the Knights HD that came out on the Xbox 360 and PS3 just recently was released on the Xbox One backwards compatibility list. So those games that I picked up on the Xbox 360, I'm able to re-download on the Xbone with my account, and I was able to just a couple days ago. It plays
Battlefront
amazing.
2.
It still plays really well. It's very
That's kinda
similar.
cool.
It's really cool. I'm actually probably going to record some of that game footage and put it up. I want to record the Saturn one and then record some of the Xbone one and put them up side by side and kind of do some comparisons to that. It won't be fair because it's like standard definition. VHD.
Yeah, I was gonna say unless you have at least S video.
No, I don't.
Just
and
do
I
the
don't.
360 and RF or something.
Perfect.
Just to balance things out.
Yeah. So there's a big comic book movie coming out. This
Orphan Fight.
Orphan Fight. Clark versus Bruce.
They have no families.
What are you guys' thoughts on that? Are you into it or not really, or don't care, or excited about it? Because I'm actually really excited about it. My wife and I are thinking about going tomorrow night.
You gotta dress up.
Unless she
has
goes
a baby.
unless she goes into labor, then I'm gonna have to wait till it comes out on video and VHS and Laserdisc later this year.
You got one shot, man. Choose
Got
wisely.
one shot. I think I'm going into labor. Hold it, we're going to Batman.
It'll be in the middle of the movie, just your luck.
Oh, probably.
Just have
Opening
a
credits.
Superman versus Batman baby, you know?
That'd be awesome.
Commemorate the moment.
I'll call the ambulance and I'll be there as soon as the movie's over. No, I'm kidding. So, any thoughts? Any ideas on it?
I have no idea what to think myself. I mean, I would like to like it. I really like Batman. I like Superman. However, none of the recent Superman or Batman movies have really appealed to me. But have you guys looked at the reviews online? We have Metacritic giving it like 40 out of 100. Rotten Tomatoes mirrors that. But then you have IMDb saying it's the best shit ever. Everything's all over the board. It's either awesome or terrible.
I have skimmed through some social media on Twitter and Facebook, and I've seen the scores, but I refuse to read anything until after I see the movie.
Hey, Snape killed Dumbledore.
Oh, Pythian, you son of a bitch.
No, man, I don't know. I hadn't seen him. Last movie I saw in theaters was Inside Out, if that tells you anything.
That's the Pixar one?
Yeah, it's because I got cheer-ins.
I got children's.
I can't take cheer-ins to Superman versus Batman.
Well, my 3-year-old, who we've got him at home tomorrow. We were thinking about going to see it, and we asked him after him watching a trailer. I said, "Do you want to see this movie in theaters?" And he says, "Nope."
Wow.
Yeah, my kid would say the same thing, unless it had like dolls or genies or ponies in it. She doesn't care.
Yeah, he's going to grandma's if we do decide to go. But
Sorry, Grandma.
Grandma's going to have to watch the kid. I actually think it looks really cool. I like the trailer. I don't hate Ben Affleck as Batman because I really hate Christian Bale.
Not George Clooney?
I think Christian Bale was an awful Batman. I think he was just boring, and I hated the way he spoke during the
I
Batman.
did too. God, I couldn't get past that.
Kill the Batman.
Joker!
So who's playing Superman then? It's not Christopher Reeve?
No, it's
Yes.
the opposite of Christopher Reeves.
What's that, a guy that is in a wheelchair?
No, it's Christopher Walken.
Oh, is it really? That'd be awesome. Is he in a wheelchair?
Oldest Superman ever.
No, it's some dude. I don't know. He was the same Superman they had in Man of Steel. Man of Steel
Morgan
was
Freeman.
Not, yeah, that's what it is. Man of
Yes.
Steel was pretty disappointing for me. I don't hate the movie, but it's definitely pretty just average for me. And the Batman, Dark Knight Rises movies.
The
I
Christopher
don't know.
Nolans.
A lot of Christopher Nolan's movies. A lot of people really love those. I just kind of lukewarm to them. I think they were okay. They're definitely better than Batman and Robin, but
I like the Dark Knight, but I didn't like the Begins or the one after the Dark Knight Rises. I didn't care for.
yeah, Dark Knight Rises has got some moments in it that are pretty bad. It's interesting because I think that Christopher Nolan does villains pretty well. Like he did Joker. Heath Ledger did a great Joker in
Yeah.
Dark Knight, and I thought. What's her face? Not the
What's her face?
Ella Enchanted girl.
Oh, Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah, that's it. She did Catwoman pretty well. Like, I actually thought her Catwoman was cool.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer is the best Catwoman, but the one in Dark Knight Rises is pretty good.
Oh, there was one in Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, there is. I can't think of what her name is. Well, you said you didn't like the movie that much. You must have watched it.
I saw the trailer and was convinced I didn't like it.
But
He was like, pass.
Bane in the Dark Knight Rises was horrible. Like,
It was supposed to be. That was his movie, right? Wasn't it all about?
it
Bane?
was, and they still ruined it. Like
It was
the
Ben
Batman,
Affleck, wasn't it?
they just messed up Bane twice in a row in 2 movies. It's pretty sad, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited to see the movie, and we'll see how I feel about it after seeing it. If I do get a chance to see it tomorrow, it'll be exciting. But I agree. I've started hearing people posting it on comic book Facebook pages and some other social networks saying, "Oh, I don't care what they say about it. I'm still going to go see it. Oh, they probably didn't like Green Lantern either." It's like, no one fucking liked Green Lantern, dude.
No one liked Aquaman either.
If it's as disappointing as that, then my God, no wonder it's going to be garbage. But I don't know.
What about the game, man? Superman vs. Batman, the game, the movie, the game.
Is there the movie The Game?
There will be. Why not, right? They
I
make
hope
movies. They make games out of anything these days, right?
They should make more movie games. They don't make that many anymore, actually.
Because of Resident Evil, right?
Yeah, I think so. And they do Lego.
The
game
Lego, the movie, the
movies.
game.
Yeah, they do
The
Lego
Star
Harry
Wars
Potter
game.
and Lego Star Wars,
Lego,
Lego
the game, the movie.
The movie, the game, the Lego.
Lego Jurassic World. There wasn't a Jurassic World game. There was Lego Jurassic World.
How? It's because the movie bombed, right?
No, that movie did really well. They got 2 sequels coming out.
Man.
You know,
Sucks.
a loosely related tangent to this whole Lego theme is user Scruffles from duofile.com chat asks, does anybody believe that Dragon Quest Blocks will see a U.S. release?
What's that?
I would love to play that. It's like Minecraft, but Dragon Quest.
Someone knows what it is. I'm personally amazed and pleased. But yeah, apparently there is a game called Dragon Quest Blocks that
No idea what it
exists somewhere. And yeah, at least one user is very excited about it. I'm glad to bring this to the attention of more. Minecraft is pretty popular, right? And Dragon Quest is popular. It was bound to happen.
That's true. I think I remember hearing about it, but I never looked into it too far. But I would just like to note that when we do, when I do upload this podcast to our audio waves, it's going to say, "We've got a comment on the website redacted."
Post edit.
I'm kidding. No, we love Duophile. We're all a bunch of Duophiles on this
Is that
podcast.
someone afraid of duos?
I think it is. No, you
He
do
has sex with
naughty
duos.
things. You do naughty things to duos.
You defile duos.
You defile them.
You know,
Funny
it's...
I'll be on at work and people are like, "What are you on? What is a duophile?"
Why is this
looking over
blocked
my
at work?
shoulder. Yeah.
Somebody looks over my
Surprisingly enough,
shoulder.
it's not blocked at work.
If
is
anybody
lovely.
if anybody asks me at work about like if I'm on PCFX or Paul's site or Duophile or something, I'm not on Duophile as much as I wish I could be, but I get on once in a great while. Usually when I get on, there's nobody in chat though, so I'm like, thanks a lot for nothing, and then I just disappear again.
There's usually only like a handful of people.
It's usually just Galen, and God knows if I ever want to sit and talk to that fucker.
It's usually like me, Null, Galen.
Agent Orange.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right.
No, I'm kidding. I like Galen.
The reason
Curse
there's not
you,
too many people
Galen.
on there is the reason people get on there is to get off. I mean, that's plain and simple what it is.
Sexual deviance.
Exactly.
I like that. That's kind of cool. No, but usually when somebody
You are the target market.
when somebody's sitting over my shoulder and asks me what it is, I usually just say, "Oh, it's tech support." Because PCFX, that sounds like a tech support page. Like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out this issue.
That does. Duofile doesn't. Like, I already gave up on explaining it to people. Like, what's Duofile? Just means I like to file twice as much.
Yeah, there you go.
That's weird.
So, Null, why don't you explain to us tell us a little bit of a story here, an anecdote about how you got a famous porn star to do an advertisement for you.
Oh boy.
I always wanted to hear this story in person.
It's not all that great, but it was pretty funny. Yeah, so user Jello Slug from the PC Engine FX forums has this little contest going where he gives away sealed games to, whomever happens to. I can't remember if it was the random drawing or if I had to do something, but whatever the case, I won, and I had promised in this thread that if I won, I would get Ron Jeremy to produce a pornographic video, about the unsealing of this game. And of course, I had to win, so I got stuck with the burden of following through on this promise. Which, if you know me, I don't follow through on shit. However, in this case, there's a porn star on the line. I had to make good on it. So just a random Google search and a late night semi-drunken email to Ron Jeremy's agent. Believe it or not, it happened to result in his agent speaking with me. We opened a dialogue. I negotiated a agreeable rate, which was fairly low. I hear you can get Dynastic Hero for about that much.
$10?
And sexual favors.
But before I knew what was going on, my sister, who actually lives in Los Angeles, the same city as Mr. Jeremy, was meeting up with him to film that little bit that has become infamous within the community. And if people watching this video don't know what I'm talking about, I will spam a link later in the comments, or you can just search for Duofile on YouTube. It's one of like 5 videos. Just look for the one with Ron Jeremy. You'll find it. But yeah, it was pretty mind-blowing to me. I did not believe in a million years that I would actually have Ron Jeremy, talking about collect twats, as we call them in Gamehuggerville. I can't even tell you how hard I laughed for how long after that happened. It's like I would just call my sister up out of the blue, and we would just laugh on the phone with each other for untold amounts of time that, holy shit, this actually happened.
It's really cool.
Awesome. Ron Jeremy, has he ever been in a video game as a character or anything like that, or in a horrible FMV game like the CDI or 3DO or something? I wonder.
The Night Trap sequel.
Yeah.
Night Trap 2.
No plumbers wear ties.
I thought he was Mario.
He does look like Mario.
He's played Mario in one of his movies.
Captain Lou Albano.
Yeah. I think it's called Find the Pipe. Find the Magic Pipe.
No,
I'm
you
kidding.
don't want to
Actually,
go down
no
that
idea if
pipe.
that's what it's called.
Hide the magic pipe.
Why don't we close out on one more topic here and talk about fighting games.
Yeah.
Now we talked about Shaq Fu a little bit and some Rise of the Robots and some of my favorite fighting games. Kasumi Ninja is another great one on the Jag.
Kasumi Ninja.
It was
Hakawa,
Way of the Warrior.
Chagi,
Oh, God.
Alderic. Show no mercy.
How about Time Killers?
That's another good one.
Fighter's History.
Another good one. I have that on the Super NES actually. Fighter's History. It's not a bad game.
That game is terrible.
It is not. Fighter's History? No, you guys are crazy. It's
Martial
pretty good.
Masters.
Martial Masters was actually good. For
Martial
some,
Champion?
Random, no.
Eternal
Martial
Champions.
Was some Chinese developed game. It was pretty good.
Was that on the Saturn?
I think it was arcade only, developed by IGS in 2002.
Wow.
Something.
Yeah, it's a PGM game, I think.
Yeah.
Pig'em.
That's a good game.
About
said-
Breaker's
said-
Revenge.
You said Eternal. No,
Eternal Champions, yeah.
Eternal Champions. I like that one too. That's a lot of fun.
Come on, dude. Seriously?
Yeah. What is wrong with Eternal Champions?
It's so bad.
Don't lie.
It is not
Like,
so bad. You guys are on crack.
Game
My God.
mechanics are gross.
They gave that away with 6-button controllers for a reason.
Yeah.
Oh, knock it off. That game, it has Street Fighter 2 style of gameplay along with like some pretty creepy darkness with the Mortal Kombat style fatalities, and it had good music and it had good cool characters. Man, it
At
had a
least
lot of...
it played better than Mortal Kombat, at least.
Sure, but this is the early to mid 90s, so you didn't have to have like a lot of really good gameplay in your fighting game. You had to have attitude, and you had to have some real like dark themes to it to get it over as like get it popular. And Eternal, I don't know. I didn't hate it. I thought it was a fun game. It has good music, good graphics too.
About Kabuki Clash.
I love that game. That game's great. But I like everything Tengai Makio. So.
That's why.
On the Neo or on the arcade card, Super CD?
On the Neo and I forgot what it's called. Something else on the PC. Kabuki something.
Kabuki Toryodan.
Yes, there you go. He got it. He can read. He can speak the runes.
He can
It
ruin.
is. I mean, it's got about the same characters. Yeah, it doesn't play anything like Kabuki Clash though.
It's got, I think, one character from it, and that's just Kabuki. Everyone else is new.
Kabuki Clash on the MVS is like a poor man's Samurai Showdown.
I love that
Everything is a
game.
poor man's Samurai Showdown.
I'm kidding. I love it. I think it's really good on the Neo. I think it's a great game.
Oh, man, the Neo was a fighter's wet dream, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
If you were a Tengai Makio fan and then you played that game, you were like, holy shit, all these awesome characters from this PC Engine series now in a fighting game. It was really, really awesome at the time.
I felt the same way about Strip Fighter 2. That was pretty cool.
It's totally a Street Fighter clone, right?
Yeah.
Street Fighter 1 clone.
With bibs.
You know, that was actually a pretty impressive game to me. The first time I played it, I mean, everyone's played Street Fighter 2, but here comes Strip Fighter 2. It's got the line scrolling, it's got the parallax.
It did. It had.
What was Street Fighter 1? Where was that? What happened to that? They jumped the shark. Man.
They just did. It just went straight to 2.
The Squeakle.
The Squeakle. What about Weapon Lord?
Weapon Lord. I don't even know what that is. I'm not
It's a
gonna lie.
Namco fighting game.
Namco. They weren't really known for fighting, other than like Tekken and Soul Calibur.
Yeah, they don't do much at all with fighting games other than like the two biggest ones ever.
Yeah.
I never played that.
What
Metro
about
Melee was good.
Metro Melee is really good. What about Battle Blaze on the Super Nintendo?
I never played that one.
Battle Blaze?
Is that a console only?
Yeah, it was on Super NES. How about Doomsday Warrior?
What is the weird fighting games?
Are you making shit up, dude? Quit making shit up.
Okay, when Street Fighter 2 was in the arcades,
When was that? It was never the arcades, dude.
Yeah, right, never ever. I remember the time when they had announced it coming out for the Super NES, and that time building up to it, companies were busting their ass trying to get as many generic fighting games out there as possible between the time the arcade game of Street Fighter 2 was out until Street Fighter 2 was finally on the Super Nintendo in '92. So you had like Sunsoft brought World Heroes on the Super Nintendo. I think it was Takara or some maybe Activision brought out Doomsday Warrior on the Super Nintendo. There was a knockoff of Ranma Half on the Super Nintendo. There was a bunch of Genesis fighting games. There was, like I said, I remember playing Battle Blaze. That's an American Sammy game on the Super Nintendo.
That game was terrible.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
Doomsday Warrior is also really bad. But then there was, I'm trying to look it up. There was another one, Power Moves. Did you ever play Power Moves?
That one was kind of terrible too.
It's pretty bad. It played a little bit like Street Fighter, but it also had a jump button.
It's like Pit Fighter then?
It's kind of gross.
No.
No, Pit Fighter was not even
Pit
really
Fighter's its own beast, and that is
a
awful.
fighting game.
But I mean,
Although
it's
I
not
loved
it's
it.
not a beat 'em up. It's not a fighting game.
It's like a confined beat 'em up.
It's like a garbage.
Yeah,
file.
it is. It was weird. But I remember trying to find like an alternative to Street Fighter because there was no Street Fighter yet on consoles, other than
Just go to the arcade.
of course,
Yeah,
are beautiful.
anything Neo Geo was an alternative to Street Fighter at that time.
Yeah, but on the Neo, you had Fatal Fury 1
Fatal Fury 1
and Art of Fighting and World Heroes.
and World Heroes.
So were any of those 3 games as good as Street Fighter 2?
No, but World Heroes had amazing charm and super great sound at the time.
And Death
Johnny
Battle.
Maximum.
Who?
How was it?
Johnny
Was
Maximum,
it?
the football player guy from World
Johnny
Heroes.
J-Max
Oh, J-Max. Yeah, you're right. It is. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
Johnny Max.
and Rasputin
Rasputin with his big hands.
and who's the big robot dude?
Captain Kid.
Captain Kid. That wasn't until World Heroes 2.
Brocken?
Brocken, yes.
Yeah.
Brocken. He was like
What
he was like
about Mudman?
that was World
Mudman?
Heroes 2 as well.
Yeah, those
I
two.
remember the first one. Then.
I liked Ryoko from 2. She was cool. She was really cool.
Who's the
The
guy?
first one had Hanzo and I can't think of the blue guy's name. Fuma.
Fuma was
Fuma and
the
Hanzo, who were the Ryu and Ken of the games. And then
dude was like
Brocken.
awesome with the arms. What was his name?
Brocken was
Brocken.
Dallas.
Okay, yeah.
And then the big wrestler dude, Muscle Power.
Yeah, it was just Hulk Hogan.
He was Zangief or Hulk Hogan. Yep. It's funny because like all of the World Heroes characters had sort of been somewhat of a knockoff of Street Fighter characters, except for Dragon.
Well, they were all meant to
Bruce Lee?
actually be
Bruce Lee.
based on real people.
Yeah, Dragon was was supposed to be like a Bruce Lee character, but then wasn't it Street Fighter or Capcom that wound up doing a knockoff of Dragon in Super Street Fighter 2? Was it Fei Long?
Fei Long. Yeah, they're
He's got, like,
both
the same
actually
moveset.
parodies of Bruce Lee. So
Yeah.
like World Heroes had like the two ninjas, Hanzo and Fuma, were named after like people who were historical in like Japanese feudal times, and then Jan was Jan d'Arc, and Jake Harn was supposed to be Genghis Khan, but because the Japanese pronounced Genghis as Genghis, so that's why they called him Jake Harn.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Genghis. Praise be Genghis.
Genghis.
I like Jen d'Arc or Joan of Arc. She was awesome.
That's an awesome PSP game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I haven't played it.
Dude, you gotta
I'm
play it.
surprised.
It's like one of the best PSP originals.
What was the really terrible Ranma half Super Nintendo game? What was it
The
called?
one that they reskinned?
Yeah.
The fighting game.
The reskinned one was called Street Combat here.
Oh, it was so bad. That was like where I almost gave up my search to find an
Yeah.
alternative to Street Fighter. When I played that, I couldn't believe how awful it was.
And the characters' names were Steven and Steven
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
But they're not related.
Worse
Yeah.
than Jimmy and Bimmy.
That's like the biggest plot twist ever.
The game was retarded. It was so bad.
I never
It was
played
bad.
it.
Then we got like real
Big
Ranma
Bull.
afterwards.
Talking about the beat 'em up one.
Yeah, it was part 2 in Japan. Came out here as Ranma 1 half hard battle. And Japan it was like Ranma half something something in crazy Japanese.
Yep. I actually thought the Ranma half games that when we finally did get a Ranma half game on the Super was really fun.
It
actually a
was. I
really cool
liked
game.
it. Super broken game mechanics, but it was a lot of fun to play.
The music was really good and the graphics were awesome. And you got to play as a giant panda. That was fun.
Yeah. Messiah always did really good job with music.
Yes, they do. They're like wizards when it comes to music and games.
Yeah, man. Choaniki games.
Yeah,
Choaniki,
they did
yep.
the Choaniki stuff. That composer is really good too. He did what did he do? Like Ane-san on the PC Engine, also really good music.
Wings of War on freaking Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's I forgot what the Gainoog or whatever is what it's called in Japan.
So what, were there any Genesis fighting games? Was it like Master of Monsters or?
Eternal Champion's your favorite, I thought.
What was that?
I think it's a good game. I don't think it's my favorite. I just think it's a good game.
Heavy Nova? Was that a fighting game or something? Heavy Nova or Heavy Unit or something?
Heavy Unit.
It was like on the 32X, and then like you had to put in a code to play the Japanese version of the game on the 32X. I don't remember what it's called. I was never a big Sega guy, but
About Virtua Fighter 1.
Yeah, that was after Street Fighter 2's era, kind of.
Terrible.
The introduction of the 3D gaming. Ooh, what's that? JJ and Jeff?
That's a great fighting game. I know so much about fighting games, but this one, you have these two guys and they shit on each other and all kinds of stuff.
It's hot.
No.
What?
You have the U.S. version. They spray paint at each other and kick each other.
I'm thinking
Also
Kato and
sealed,
Ken.
too.
Kato-chan
Right.
and Ken-chan. Now they are peeing and pooping on each other, sir, and farting,
Just like Airzone
just like Airzonk. Did you say
You know what?
Aerosol or Airzonk?
and Toilet Kids.
Best Street Fighter right here.
Oh,
Best.
That is a good one. So, Null, you said you don't have a lot of experience with fighting game. Why not? Don't you like fighting games?
Because he sucks at him.
you know,
He's not
I
a
have
fighter, he's a
US
lover.
and Canadian versions of Fighting Street. Beyond that, on
Both
the PC, I used to play a game called One Must Fall, 2049, I think, maybe. Do you guys remember One Must Fall?
Is that PC?
Sounds like it sucks.
Oh, you can go show some of dick.
shit.
I didn't say shit.
No, it was a really cool mech kind of fighting game where you could
Like Rise of the Robots.
RGB style. Well, Rise of the Robots. I don't think that was it. No, I'm
What
pretty
about
sure
Rise
it's One
2?
Must Fall. There were fembots.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's like all of them had the robot, anatomy, and you could upgrade said thing. It was a really cool game. You should look into it. You guys are talking about Neo Geo. That's not shit when it comes to fighting games. You need to go get this semi-hentai PC.
Oh, Metal and Lace.
Metal and Lace. Oh my god.
Metal and Lace.
There we
Does that
go.
sound
There you
like
go.
that? Like, how do you
The
know?
PC
Like,
gamer had to. What Sango Fighter? Do you play that one?
PC 98.
Dude, I used to have
Metal and
Sango
Lace.
Fighter too.
Yeah, that's a fighting game on
Yep.
PC.
It's like bam, 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 and then tits.
Tatties.
Which is funny because I'm actually a huge fan of Variable Geo, and Variable Geo was just chock full of tits.
Is that on the Neo Geo?
Variable Geo, it was, on the PC Engine, it was called Advanced VG.
Yeah. I don't think I
All
played
female.
And
that.
there was a Super NES one too, I think.
Yeah, Super VG.
It was VG with slowdown.
I always thought it was called
Pretty much,
S
yeah.
Badge.
Advanced
It is.
Badge. But the PC Engine version didn't really have any badge. It was that the PC versions were like crazy hentai.
Is that what the VG stands for?
Advanced Variable G.
Vagina.
Yeah, the VG stands for, I didn't know what it stood for. Variable G.
Vaginal gratuity.
Vagina.
Please
Vag.
tip. And they're
Vagina.
waitresses, so like that makes sense.
So they work on tips.
Yep, just a tip.
Ooh.
Whoa. There's a Battle Heat on the PCFX.
That's not a fighting
That's
game.
not a fighting game. That's a
It's a FFV fuckfest.
yeah. It's pretty much what it is. That's cool. Not really a fighting game.
No, it's not.
Apparently, Galem in the chat says that Eternal Champions. That he likes Eternal Champions. I just lost all respect for him.
He's a
Oh,
Eternal Champions
what?
apologist.
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's not that good of a game. Yeah, I guess.
It's like, at least you admit you're wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
I was
not
with you
bad.
for a second, then I realized I was thinking of something else. I think I was thinking about
You're thinking about Street Fighter 2 is what you're thinking.
Master of Monsters. So, okay, Fighting Street came out on the Turbo in the US. The original Street Fighter came out on, it's the only home arcade version, or the only home port of the arcade game ever, other than, like, I think, like, some of the Capcom compilations or something like that. But what are your honest thoughts about it? And especially thinking about the time that it came out, like, early 90 or 89 in Japan? Like, what are your thoughts?
I think it was pretty innovative for the time that it came out. It was really the only game that had that 6-button layout. No other games did that. And a lot of people were like, oh, the gameplay is shitty and blah, blah, blah. But what else was there at the time? There wasn't really anything else. At the time, it was good because there was really nothing to compare it to.
You had, like, Karate Champ and
Yeah.
Yar Kung Fu.
Yeah,
Dude,
Kung
what
Fu.
the fuck is the announcer saying at the game over? What the fuck is he saying? Nobody
You
knows.
over there, want do something, kid?
Oh, what? Fighting Street?
Yes.
Yeah, he's got like a mouthful of mouth.
All over your world.
Watch strength, but don't forget there are guys like you all over the world.
I can understand. What the fuck
But
is he
he's-
saying though?
But he's saying it really English. He's like, God, like you're
If there
all
were no
around
subtitles,
the
what would
world."
you think he was saying?
But the arcade version sounded exactly the same. So with
It
the porting of it, they made sure to be as close to the arcade source as possible.
Dude, they had a
It didn't
CD. They
work.
could have just recorded it with a microphone.
I know it's almost to a mistake, but if you notice that a lot of those Capcom
Oh.
conversions that came out on the Turbo CD had that same issue, like Forgotten Realms or Forgotten
Digitized
Worlds.
speech.
Forgotten
That was
Worlds.
terrible.
Forgotten Worlds was like,
Well, they didn't
Guys, we got to go into the next level. Let's go.
like, why did they do that? So like,
I think,
Worse quality.
but it kind of has a level of authenticity to it at that point because it's so close to what you remember in the arcade. It's not going to be like, oh, this quality is shitty. You don't know anything better because that's how it was in the arcade. So I think it's a nice touch when they do that.
Yep. I saw the first time I had seen Street Fighter 1 arcade machine was when Street Fighter 2 was the king shit in like 91. And we went to an arcade. I live in Wisconsin, so it was in Sturgeon Bay, which is right by Green Bay. We went to an arcade there, and they had Street Fighter 2 machines, 2 of them, and they were just packed with all these teenagers and older kids. And then there was a Street Fighter 1 machine next to it, and there was no one around it. And I spent like all my allowance that week playing on a Street Fighter 1 machine because I could never get into the big Street Fighter 2 machines, and I actually really fell in love with it. It's definitely got its quirky controls and stuff, but compared to the games that were out before that, like Yai Kung Fu or Karate Champ, it's a much better game.
Oh, yeah,
And so when I
Yeah.
finally did get the Turbo and I got the CD, I got the Duo CD, when I did pick up Fighting Street, I was like at home with it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was really cool, and the soundtrack is amazing.
Soundtrack is really good.
That
Like,
is
it's-
worth. I mean, if the game on the PC engine is what, 20, $25, that alone is worth it. Just the soundtrack, how good it is, and then if you can play through the
soundtrack
game,
is really good.
if you want to play through the entire game of Fighting Street, here's a trick: get your 6-button controller, the AvPad 6, and just turn on slow motion. The bad guys can't hit you at all. They can't hit you.
Dude, you're cheating. That doesn't count.
Well, if you want to see, if you want to, if it's tough. Some of those, like I think it's Mike,
It is. That game
the
is
Tyson guy. He's
yeah,
like
it's
he can kill you in one hit.
Possible.
So like if you get frustrated with it, just turn on slow motion, play through the rest of it, and see the ending. It's a lot of fun. I love the ending. I think the music's awesome, and I don't know. I play through it at least annually, once in a while.
It's a
Just
really good port.
yeah,
The
that's
only
what's good.
port.
The music's awesome. So
Yeah. But it did a really good. The PC Engine did a really good job with a lot of those ports, especially after the arcade card. There were a lot of really good ports
oh yeah,
at the
Well,
time.
Fatal Fury Special and World Heroes 2.
Right.
Man,
Those things were
The Neo
great
ports
if
are
you
better
didn't.
than the Genesis and Super Nintendo for sure.
Yeah, and if you didn't have a Neo Geo at the time, it was your best option.
yeah, I agree. Especially with the music. The music on Fatal Fury Special was amazing.
I loved it. I loved that that score was only on the PC Engine version of the game.
Yep.
Not even the arranged Neo Geo versions had those. So I think that was awesome.
So here's a question. This is almost just for my own curiosity. Before we end the show, because we're over time now, and I don't want to keep everybody up too late because you got to work and stuff in the morning. But if you have Fatal Fury Special on the Turbo, is it worthwhile getting Fatal Fury 2? Because that also came out on the arcade card.
Not really.
Fatal Fury 2 sucks compared to
Yeah.
Special. It's
Well,
the
Fatal Fury
controls
2
aren't as tight.
No, they're not.
But is there any musical things? Like, is there graphics or music that you can get? Like, oh, this is actually a neat alternate, audio to it, or is it the same stuff?
it's most of the same stuff, really.
Play it on Neo CD if you want to play it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're a PC Engine enthusiast and you like Fatal Fury Special, or I'm sorry, Fatal Fury, you'd want to play Fatal Fury Special or Fatal Fury 2. But back in the day, I had gotten Fatal Fury 2 because it was the first game that you could get for the arcade card. That was
Oh, nice.
a fighting game. So I had gotten Fatal Fury 2, and I loved it. My friends
Yeah.
would come over, and they'd be like, oh, we got Fatal Fury 2 on the Super Nintendo, and I'm like, ah!
Turn
We
it
knew,
off.
like, one guy who had a Neo Geo.
Isn't it just like $10 nowadays anyway? I mean, just get it.
Fatal Fury 2? Yeah.
$10 sealed probably.
Yeah, I got a new copy. It was like $11, brand new.
That's not bad.
Because of
Yeah,
all
maybe
the
I'll just check it
unsold
out.
Fatal Fury 2s out there.
Yeah, tons. Because you can get
That's
special for like $15.
All right, cool. Well, then I think I'm sold on the idea. I'm going to pick it up. The first time I played Fatal Fury 2 before I had played Fatal Fury Special. So when I got through Fatal Fury 2 and beat Krauser, and then saw the ending and everything, I was like, wow, this is so cool. And then when Special came out and you get to that point, you beat Krauser and you realize there's just half the game left. You got to go through Geese and all the other bad guys and Duck King's back, and it was awesome. It was awesome. I love Special. It's one of my favorite fighting game memories is that game. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
But
it's really good.
Just like real
Anyway.
bout, special's better.
I think we've had. Did you say special's better than 2, Ope?
No, I'm saying like with the real bout Fatal Fury series, special is better
Oh,
than 2.
wow, yeah.
Oh yeah, special is way better than 2.
Yes, it is.
I had that on the Saturn. I played the shit out of it. And then the
Yes.
PS1 actually got a version of it called Fatal Fury Special Dominated Mind, I think, and it added like a character. But the frame rate in that game was shit compared to the Saturn version.
Super Nintendo, you said?
No, the PlayStation.
Oh, yeah, duh, yeah,
Yeah,
PlayStation.
PlayStation got its own version of it. But
Yeah.
it had like cool anime cutscenes, which was kind of nice.
But
That's
you didn't
kinda
need a RAM card to play it, right?
For what, the Sega
The
Saturn?
PS1s. But for the Saturn, you need a RAM card.
Yes, for the Saturn you need the RAM card.
See, that's where the power is at. That's the power.
The 1 meg
4
RAM
mega
card.
power.
You don't need the RAM card to play Fatal Fury Special or Fatal Fury Real Bout Special on the Neo Geo CD though, and I got
No,
that
you
copy,
don't.
and I just have to wait about 9 minutes in between.
Yeah, you just gotta wait like 8 years.
You know, do some push-ups, man.
Yeah.
That's what I do. It's what I do.
Do some curls for the girls, man.
Mm. Yeah.
The
Takes me 3 hours to play through it. Not because I'm bad. It's just because I have to wait between the load times.
Trying to get cut, trying to get buff, man. Have more children.
Yeah, right. No, that's not happening.
Yes.
But
It's too late. It's happening right now.
it's happening right
It's
now.
happening.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for being a part of the show. I thought it was fun this week. We got through a lot of topics, and I think you guys you passed the test with flying colors. Pat yourselves on the back, fellas. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you, Nullity, for being here once again, 2 weeks in a row. Can we make it 3?
Signs point to yes.
Sarumaru, thank you.
Whatever. He didn't even want to be on the show today. He was like, "Oh, I'm not feeling it today."
He said he had some sand in his vagina. Leave him
vagina. Exactly.
Dead tired, but I
Yeah,
drank
but it's
anyway.
also
I tried to
no.
speak.
He's menstruating right now.
Opie, thank you for coming back to the show. I was worried that you didn't like me anymore, and you're back again. I'm so happy to see you.
I couldn't. I forgot my camera.
It's all good. And thank you guys.
Games.
Thank you everybody for listening. We are a week and a half away from the Midwest Gaming Classic. That will be the topic of conversation next week. We'll chitty chat about all that, all the excitement going into that, and we'll see you in 7 days next week. We hope you have a great rest of the week, and keep on gaming.
Hug it out.
Hug it out. See you guys. Thanks for being on the show. Bye.
Peace.
Peace.